Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Tuesday live. Back from vacation, back from holiday. I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday time and a merry holiday. And so we are going to do something fun today. We've been talking about it, and so we are finally doing it. Where I'm going to do half airbrush, half traditional makeup. And so we're going to talk about that, but I always like to go over the basics. I always like to go over the beginnings. So I'm going to kind of fly through that because we'll talk about that while I'm airbrushing. But I know a lot of people got a system for Christmas or the holidays, and so I want to make sure that you know how to use it. So this is one of our systems. This is our icon. We also have the icon Pro and the Legend, and of course the Breeze. And it comes with makeup. It comes with the 2 bottles of foundation you see, plus Love and blush. Now our blush is super high pigmented. A little bit goes a long way. So you're only going to use about 2 drops. And I even put the blush on first and then the foundation on over to smooth it out, to kind of soften it a little bit. Now, as you're starting, this is what we want you to do. We want to make sure that you keep that stylus 4 finger widths away, keep it moving, and barely pull back on this trigger. If you get this system home, and a lot of people do this, I would say 99% of the people do this, they get the system home and they put it on like traditional makeup. And if you do it that way, then you're not going to love it. It's not going to do what we say it's going to do. And so make sure you are doing it in airbrushing the right way. It's just retraining our brains into thinking LUMINESS versus traditional makeup. So, hey, Jacque, how are you? Hello, Debbie. Hello, Veronica. Good to see everybody. I got a little distracted. I have a little elf helper today. Hey, Jeannie. Good to see you. All right. So we are going to do traditional versus airbrush. So actually, I'm going to pull my hair back so we can all see. And what I was trying to think, because we have LUMINESS makes a traditional makeup. And it's this one right here. It's the Liquid Mirage right there. And it is awesome. It is amazing. I mean, if you're not going to airbrush, if you're not, if you don't think you can do it, this is a good one to start, because who do you want to make a traditional makeup? An airbrush company. And so I wanted to make sure that I can do this, which we can work with, but I know that this looks amazing on. So I did bring, hello, Maria. How are you? Hey. I did bring a store-bought, like grocery store-bought traditional makeup and concealer, which I'm going to use that because I think that's a true comparison of traditional versus airbrush. This goes on and looks, it's full coverage, but it looks amazing. Okay, so I'm not going to use that one. I am going to use just a regular store-bought. So Stephanie, I'm so glad you're like twice. Yay. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. My skin is prepped. Obviously, eyebrows are on, and I am going to do half and half. I'm like, I don't know where to start. Let's start with concealers. So let's do the airbrush first. And I was like, I don't know what side to do. I'll do airbrush here because I have all my airbrush products there, and then traditional this side. So shaking up my bottle, I'm going to use Glow first, and I'm going to use Glow to go on my lids. I'm basically using Glow as my concealer, okay? All right, so I have a little bit of Glow in there, probably about 2 drops. Going on my eye just to highlight, cover. Hello, how are you? On YouTube, so good to see you, Bella. And now I'll go underneath. Now, remember, I want to make sure you can see this. When airbrushing, you always want to keep the stylus pointed directly at you, right? When you do under the eyes, like there's air. I know wherever I feel the air is where the makeup's going to go. When I go underneath my eyes, I just do this. Boop, go down a little bit. And then I would go to the other side. Because I'm concentrating just on certain areas, I want to give each side a little time. So when you're doing your pre-coverage, you can go back and I'm just using, and I definitely didn't need the 2 to 3 drops because I forgot I'm only doing one side. So, but also notice, like I'm concentrating it underneath my eyes to cover up the dark circles. However, I'm bringing it down. I'm bringing this down farther than maybe you would think to do a concealer. Oh yay, Rose got one and got one and she got it and she loves it. All right, so concealer pre-coverage done. Good morning, Cindy. Now I'm taking a store-bought concealer and I'm going to get a blender. Now I'm really going to try to do this where both sides look good. And just like when we do our traditional concealer, which I love, we do, you know, sections at a time, because once it sets, it's set, right? So, and I never start from in here. I'm self-conscious about my wrinkles and crinkles underneath. So I want to make sure and you hear me say with the eyeshadows, that first place that you put the brush is where the makeup, most of the makeup's going to go. Same thing with doing a traditional concealer. Taking the doe foot, I'm starting out here. And I can work it that way and a little bit on my lid because I'm covering the same areas. And then I'm taking a blender and I'm going to tap that into place because I don't want to pull. I'm not pulling on my lid, okay? You need to use your finger. Rose, you can put glow on after. You definitely can put the glow on after if you want to. I find, and you just have to kind of play with it to see what's easier for you. And, you know, what I find that doing it first, and then when I do the foundation, I can blend it a little bit better. But you can do whatever works for you. Okay, so I'm just moving that into place. The other thing, when you're doing it under the eyes, when you're airbrushing under the eyes and you're first starting out, if you need to be like, if you haven't got the swing of it yet or the hang of it yet, you can take a blender and blot that out too. If you sprayed a little bit too heavy, don't think you have to start over. Just take a blender and tap it out, okay? So I'm having to do a little extra work just to make sure there's no demarcation lines, there's no, you know, that it's all blended. Because with traditional makeup, you will, you know, obviously you saw the opaqueness of the makeup go on. And so now I'm having to go in and blend that, make sure everything's blended. You don't see the line, so I'm blending that out, okay? Now you do see that this side is brighter than this side. It's just because of how much makeup I put on that side. If I wanted it this bright, I can go back with the glow and keep adding that till it is that bright. I just don't think I need it that bright. I think this is good. Plus the fact when I get to my foundation, I'm going to be blending over that and it's going to take it down a little bit as well. So good morning, Muzi. Good to see you. Good morning, Martin. We're doing traditional, half airbrush. So that is what we are up to right now. Now, like I told you before, I like doing my blush. I feel like I'm on my. Oh, you know what I do need to do is powder. Because that was a cream, I want to make sure that it stays in place. So I'm going to be using our translucent powder, which I love. And very lightly powdering because it's going to set it. And where it won't crease, okay? Whoops. All right. Now on this side, I'm going to be doing our blush. And I'm using the Soft Rose blush. You can mix a drop of Glow. You can mix a drop of your foundation. You can mix a drop of Love in with your blush just to change it a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. So now, airbrush side. And we are bringing the blush up a little bit higher. Don't look at my grays. I need to get my hair done today. Now, normally I would go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth to get it to the level that I like it. I know. I'm surprised too. So it'll go on a little bit easier when you can go back and forth. So going back to Rose's question, she said, can I put the glow on after? Guys, once you can airbrush, once you have that art of airbrush down, then everything else, yes, the lift effect, Trina, exactly. Once you have that down, then play on the order you put things. Because what you need, what I need, what Jeannie needs, what Trina needs are all going to be different. And so it's playing with the order of what you need to happen. Okay. Hello, Lucky. All right. So now applying, and what Trina was saying, the lift effect, doing the blush contour, it really does lift it up. And honestly, I honestly think that during the pandemic, we started to notice that because people were putting their blush higher, or at least I was putting my blush higher because with a mask, you couldn't see it. And so to give it some interest, I would raise my blush up a little bit. Hello, Pablo. So it does give that lift. Now, if you're doing this and lifting it, I don't necessarily do my contour here, but I will contour here. Okay. So I kind of like it with just that blush being up a little bit more. Now I can still do the highlight on top, but that's up to you. Okay. Again, it's one of those things that you need to try. So you could use the luminizers. You could use Love. You know, there's a lot of different things that you could use to give it that sheen. Pink. So KH just got it. Love it. And she says, she goes, I'm a newbie, but I love the portable spray. She has the Breeze, which we love, which is, this is the Breeze that is chargeable. And there's an eyelash to it. That's chargeable and cordless. So it's amazing. So the one thing, KH, what I would highly recommend, so the fact that you're telling me you have the 30 and the 40, so you got the medium kit, the fact that you're saying they're light yellow and you're more pink, be careful how you're spraying, guys. When you put this on, please, please, please spray lightly. What happens when people get this home is they spray it and apply it like traditional makeup. If you do that, it's not going to color match. It's not going to look good at all. Musette just said the powders are on sale for $5. I know, it's pretty amazing. I will say, if you are new, I highly recommend staying and watching these videos. If you can't watch live, you can watch afterwards. But in the bio, in the description, we have a link and we do small groups. And so you can book an appointment, and they're Mondays and Wednesdays at noon. And you can book an appointment, and I'll go over a little more detail, a little more description on how to get started. Because if anybody's having trouble at the beginning, it is application. And guys, I'm very honest about this. this is why I'm a makeup artist, not in sales. There is a learning curve. Now, I'm not saying practice for 30 days and you'll be an expert. I'm saying do these things that I'm telling you. Let me pop these back on the screen. Do the things that I was telling you as far as you want to make sure that you're that 4 finger widths away, that you keep the breeze or that stylus moving. There's overlap, but you're not in one spot twice. And then also you're going to lightly pull back on that trigger. And it is so light that you're going to question whether or not it's even coming out. Okay. All right. So yeah, she was like, I spray light, but I get too close. And that's the other thing. When you're starting out and you feel that air, practice with the air, and every so often check to make sure you're the 4 finger widths away. That sounds easy. You're like, oh, I can do that. But what happens is because there's air coming out, you either end up like this or like this because you're used to touching your face. It'll all become muscle memory and you'll be great. But there might be a little bit of a learning curve there. Okay. All right. So I did concealer, blush, concealer, and set on this one. Now I'm going to go in. I'm going to do foundation on this side. And I'm doing a store-bought foundation. And I don't know. I just thought about that. I don't know if I have a foundation brush. I bet I don't. I didn't even think about that. I don't. I have fluffy brushes, but I don't have a foundation brush. Let's see if we can use this one. That's what happens when you work for an airbrush company. All right, so I have my foundation right there. And then depending on how you put it on, you can go in, make sure I'm doing the right side. Put your lines there. And remember, I'm only doing half. Yuck. And you can blend it in, but I'm not going to do it. If I had a fluffier brush, I'd probably blend it in, but I'll just do it with a blender. Wonder if this one will work. Maybe this one will work. Yeah. And then got some hairs. And then I'll put a little bit more on this side under here. Wipe my finger off. Blend it down so I don't have that demarcation line. On my nose. But do y'all see how rough I have to be? I'm like, I'm pretty rough. And I'm not trying to be. I'm not trying to be like an extreme. I want it to look good. But do you see how rough I have to be to blend it in? And if you think about it, I mean, you don't need to be no rocket scientist. When you're doing this, I'm pulling on my face. Now I can go in and kind of stipple to make sure there's no brush marks. But I do have all these little. And you might, I mean, your brush that you use, if you use traditional, might not have the little. KH, I don't want this to confuse the new people. I'm doing half face traditional and half face airbrush to show you the difference. Okay. So this is what's happening now. So I'm doing traditional on this side, but you can do all airbrush. I'm going to wipe this off my hand because that's gross. I think I have the coverage that I want. I mean, it looks okay to me. I am going to have to go in and powder because I need to set it, but I'm lightly powdering. Now, when doing this side, you can powder before airbrushing. And I know that sounds weird, but you know, airbrushing throws all the rules, traditional rules out the window. And what this does is it will help you stay matte. And it just gives a polished look. Okay, so foundation, concealer done, concealer, blush done, airbrush side. But KH, what color and type? The foundation that I use Rose. I go back and forth between Rose foundation and Silk foundation in shade 3. Rose and Silk are going to be the same across the board. So what you are in Silk, you are in Rose. Rose is going to give you medium to full coverage. Now, just because I say full coverage, that doesn't mean it's going to give you that that done up look or that cakey look. It just means it has higher pigment in it. Maybe you don't have to do as many passes, but it's amazing. But I fluctuate between Silk and Rose. You can mix them together. But yeah, I'm usually a 3. Sometimes I'll put a drop of 2 to kind of lighten it a little bit. All right. Hold on. I know you had another question with that. And do you use any base before the foundation? So you do not have to use a traditional foundation underneath Airbrush, because Airbrush is going to do whatever you need it to do, whether it's light, medium, full coverage. It's all about the passes. Now, coverage will get better once you get the hang of it, because also in the beginning, people do this and they're moving too fast. The moves that you make are very deliberate and you're getting the coverage that you need. Okay. So now I'm going to go in with my shade 3 and shake. Although, no, let me back up. Let me do blush so we can even it out. So then I'll have everything. So I'm using the blush Charming that we have and still doing it, doing the lift, doing my blush contour. And this blush I really do love. It already has a shimmer to it. Maybe did that a little bit lower. I'm gonna kind of blend that out a little bit. All right. Oh, okay. Sorry, KH. I just want to make sure everybody gets covered. All right. So concealer, foundation, blush. No, I need foundation on this side. This is getting confusing. All right. Now, the traditional makeup doesn't. And I'll get up close and personal to the screen in just a minute, because I'm going to get my up close mirror. So now I have my foundation, which is the the Rose shade 3, 030, starting in one spot. I'm going to start making my passes. Blend it. I don't have to go all the way underneath my eye because I already have the glow there. Blend it, blend it, blend it. Go half my nose. Blending it down my neck. And this is the other thing I love about Airbrush is this blends everything for you. So it's with traditional makeup, you put it on, then you blend with anything, right? Put it on, then blend. This, it puts on and blends. So I'm not having to pull on my face. I'm not having to, do anything crazy. So it's going to save my face from getting wrinkles and crinkles earlier or too soon, sooner than I want, because I'm not touching my face. All right. So traditional, and we're still going. Traditional, airbrush. Traditional, airbrush. All right. Now, let's move on. So now I'm going to go in with the Nude and Naughty, which we know I love. I love this one. And I'm going to do it similar colors. So it's kind of what I did a little bit of yesterday. Is this a latte? I don't know if that has some shimmer, but we'll add a little bit. So I'm going to do this on my lid. Oh, Stephanie, it is a must. It has 36 neutral eyeshadows, but some have fun colors. But you have matte, silk and shimmers, and it's amazing. All right, so now I'll take my blending brush. It does look very powdery. It just doesn't, like I can tell here looks like in my cheek area, even the blush looks a little more natural blended. I mean, I really want to try to do it the same. I'm not trying to, it's not smoke and mirrors over here. So I'm going to do like a terracotta kind of color because I'm going to end up putting which one is it? Espresso, I think. Yeah, I'm going to do espresso in the crease. So this blending. Now, if you have eyeshadows that are not luminous and you end up having to pull, like really rub that in, that has to do with pigment. And so that you need to make sure if you're going to use, and I know I even do, using something that's higher pigmented, and we know this area is very delicate, I don't have to blend and roughly on my eye. I just barely just do and blend that in. It might look pale because I have the wrong color. I just went and grabbed what I thought. All right, eyes done on that side. So now I'm taking Latte Eye Shadow, putting just a couple of drops in. And now I'm going to do this on my lid. How can you see that? Okay. I'm going to move my mirror on this side so I can see. So notice, like, you don't see any demarcation lines. Everything's blended. But even if I did do a little bit of a hot spot right there, what happens? There's no mistakes when it comes to airbrushing. I can just tap that out and keep going. But again, you're lightly spraying. You are going to come in a little bit closer than when doing the foundation. I can come in about probably 2 finger widths away, because the closer you get, the more precise it gets. Okay? Shaking up the espresso. Yeah, I can really tell like this does look a lot cakey. And also always shake up your bottles. Even if it's a bottle you use every single day, you'll want to shake that up. Now using espresso, again, coming in closer. I'm making the same movements I make when I was blending this, when I was doing this. Notice it's the same movement. But I am concentrating right there, okay? Traditional, airbrush. Traditional, airbrush. And then you can keep going to make it as deep or as, stop if you want it lighter. I'm just trying to make it the same. All right. So there we go with espresso. And that was espresso and Latte Eye Shadow. Again, you're going to have the staying power with the airbrush eyeshadows. You're not going to have the creasing. Airbrush makeup lasts 17, 18 hours. And so you're not going to, and I mean, our eyeshadows stay on as long as well because of the high pigment. Okay. So that's why I'm telling you, like, I'm using our eyeshadow. I used a store-bought concealer and foundation, because I know ours, we have a traditional one and it's amazing. So I know ours works, but that's why I did the store-bought traditional foundation and concealer. Okay. I'm just telling y'all the truth. So definitely makes a difference. To be honest, I kind of like this eye better. It looks a little, I don't know. I mean, they're comparable, but I like how this is blended a little bit more. I don't know. What do y'all think? And then if I wanted to do some concealer, not concealer, contouring, I'm going to just contour. Do this real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and do both sides. So Martin likes airbrushing. What do you guys think? Y'all like the airbrush side? Can you see the... I mean, I have wrinkles. Like I have some wrinkles here. And I am self-conscious. I can definitely tell the wrinkles underneath my eyes a lot better. Yes, both eyeshadows are Luminess. Yes, it's our Nude and Naughty palette, which I love and everybody should have because it is amazing. It has all of these in it. I mean, I would walk out like this. I'm not saying like I look scary, but side by side, I can definitely tell. I got some brushes, brush that came on this side too. But I can definitely tell the difference between them. So there you go. Oh, you bought the nude palette? That's a good too. Yeah, that's a heart. Trina's like definitely hands down the Airbrush. It's so weird. And this was a great idea to do the side by side, because when I've done traditional makeup just to try things out, like I don't hate it. I can, you know, we can make it look good, but there is something more natural and more flawless about the airbrush side. So, oh, Debbie loves the airbrush side too. Yeah, I don't know. I even like the eyeshadow better. So there you go. Now we know. All right, guys, that is it for this Tuesday. We were going to, Kelly agrees too. We were going to do, what was it, luminizers tomorrow. We'll have to wait and do those next week. I'll probably do that on Tuesday. And so we'll talk about the luminizers and brightening up the face, how you can use them. You can use them before foundation, so they're not so bright. And so, yeah, we can definitely do that. Kelly, are you from Houston? Your name sounds familiar to me. So I was like, is your name? I don't know. Kelly, if you're from Houston, give me a thumbs up. I want to see. Ohio. Okay. I was like, I saw the little picture and I was like, is that who I think it is? I know somebody named same name. Kind of weird. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to wipe off this side and airbrush it. And then we will be back tomorrow. All right. I'm going to add some mascara so I will be good. Oh, yeah, Martin. Yep. Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Love having all the new people. So good to see you guys. Spread the word. Tell people about this live. You can share the live. Also about the class. Sign up for the classes. We do small group classes. I go around. Everybody talks about what problem situations, questions they have, and we address those. They're small groups, so everybody gets treatment, special treatment. and click that link below and you can sign up. So thank you, Trina, for joining us. All right, guys, have a great day. If you're not back before the new year, have a happy new year, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.